Hi everyone. Hi, it's me, Green Beauty ASMR. Oh my goodness. I am so excited to be here in this video with you. I am so sorry about the background noise outside. Literally, as I came in here to film, our neighbor decided it was a good time to start doing yard work. I have so much to tell you, and I feel like this video is going to be long, and I'm also feeling pressure to not make it too long, so I'm just sitting with that. As you can see, I did get a new microphone. In fact, I had to get new almost everything. A new mic, a new tripod, a new adapter for my iPhone for the tripod, because I alternate between phone and like a real camera for filming. And sometimes using the phone is quicker. If I'm doing role plays and it's requiring more editing, that's usually when I use the camera. Oh my gosh, where do I begin? I'm going to try to not talk super fast. I just want each of you to understand the feeling I have in this moment, sitting down and filming with you. I have been gone a very long time, and it was not intentional. Oh my goodness. Okay, so last time I came on here, I'm trying to remember when I filmed last versus communicated with you on Instagram around where I was. Some of you know the updates. Well, none of you know all the updates, but along the way where I was. So let me just start with the logistics. When I thought that I was going to have more time to film, and in fact, I think I had said somewhere that I was going to start filming again. That corresponded with when my son, who is 4 years old, he is 4, everyone, and I know some of you have been here since back when, and you remember when I was pregnant and when I had him, and here we are 4 years later, and it's been a wild, magical, beautiful ride. So when I said that I was gonna come back, my son started preschool, and I thought that I was gonna have more time because I don't know, some of you don't know that when I was filming a lot after having him, I was at home. I was staying home. I wasn't working. When I went back to work is when you noticed a decline in videos. And certainly at this time last year, I thought that I was going to have more time because he was starting school. But what that meant was that he got sick all the time. And this is important, and I'm going to come back to some updates that relate to this. Additionally, at that time, I got a huge bump in referrals for my practice, and I'm very full, working a lot, and that is the primary reason why I have been away, in addition to obviously having a small child and all of the mental space that takes up. So, so many things. Okay. We moved, so I don't know, maybe some of you remember how we had been house hunting for over 2 years and really waiting for the perfect place. We finally found a place in October, and what happened was, so back in July, August, my son started school and he got really sick all the time. And I know many of the parents are like, yep, that's what happens in preschool. And there are other factors here. And I know parents who have children who have gone into daycare or preschool post-COVID understand that the level of illnesses this past year was record-breaking, insane. And so there was that piece where my son was sick all the time. And this was incredibly disruptive because my husband and I, who work at home, have to juggle now that he's out of care. And my son was getting really sick, like 106 fever for 4 days straight. I have been to countless doctor's appointments. It was such a journey. And so then when I would normally have free time, I'm home with a sick child, I'm catching up on my own work. And then, so in September is when we got this house, when I was starting to pack up our old house, prepping it for staging and to sell, which I cannot believe. It was so foolish of me to just say that I will pack up our entire house in 2 weeks because that's the amount of time we had. And during that time of wild packing, my son had croup. And then I also got surgery on my arm. Where's my scar? It's very ugly, sorry. And so I was packing up my house, the one that some of you have seen, in 2 weeks, the entire house by myself because my husband was working full time while taking care of my very sick child with no childcare while also trying to work. It was madness. Flash forward, we're into October. We had to stay in a rental house before this current house could close. And we needed to be out of our old house so that it could be staged and sold. And the market was seriously dropping super bad at that time. And so we wanted to get things moving. So then we were in a rental house for about a month. My son got, as soon as he was better from croup, he got hand, foot, and mouth disease, got really, really sick. So I was taking care of him in, a new place, not our usual comforts, which is whatever, we made it through. It's okay, no big deal. Then, what else did he have? He was sick literally every other week, and not just the sniffles, but very sick, which brings me to where we have been recently. So around that time, so we're in October, November, he was so sick in November, ER visits, couldn't figure out what's going on, blood work done because I was so scared that something was wrong with his immune system. And so we had blood work done twice. Just some doctors were telling me, really normalizing this season of being like the worst illnesses they've seen in their 25-year practice. And it's as a result of all of us quarantining for so long. And these viruses are like on steroids, and there were so many people sick, and we couldn't get doctor's appointments because it was so overloaded. It was wild. It was so wild. And mind you, during this time, I'm working, I'm seeing clients, I'm trying to maintain our, income and my practice, and it was quite tricky. And so, long story short, finally, I advocate with this pediatrician. I want to see an ENT because he started getting ear infections with every single illness, even the sniffles. It would turn into an ear infection. He would get so sick. He would be out like 5 days just from the sniffles, whereas other kids, it's like 2 days and they're back. And Oh, we also had norovirus. That was a fun one. Forgot to mention that. We had it all except COVID. And so I felt like his pediatrician was not taking me seriously. I think she was very overworked. I know that here in the US, our medical staff are short staffed and incredibly overworked. And so I have a lot of compassion for them. And I just knew something was not right with my child's anatomy. Like there was something, yes, multiple doctors told me it's just how it is this season. Anyway, we end up on a random visit for a severe ear infection with some other pediatrician at in a different city. And he is the one who said, yes, your son needs to see an ENT with these ear infections and this upper respiratory stuff. So we get that referral. We have an appointment with the ENT, and he's like, we're so booked for ear tube surgery and other procedures, but put your son down, on the schedule, and we'll see what happens. So we get this appointment to get ear tubes in his ears to help his eustachian tube drain, and that was scheduled. Then so that was in April. Then we go on vacation. Finally, he's like less, and we have a break in sickness. We're going down to Southern California to visit family. It's this, for Easter, we're going to go. And he gets sick again right before we leave. Flash forward a couple days. We delayed it a day. Okay, he's okay. We go. We get to our destination after a very long drive, and we have one night with family. He wakes up in the middle of the night complaining of ear pain. Take him to the ER the next day. Oh, guess what? He also has pneumonia. That was so peak stress for me. He had pneumonia and a severe ear infection, and literally 2 days before we left, I took him to the doctor to check his ears to make sure we were all okay to travel, and it was fine. Within 48 hours, he developed pneumonia and an ear infection. So then we had to come home from our trip because he was sick, and some of the people we were visiting are older, and they didn't feel comfortable with us going to their house. That's a different story. So we packed right back up and we came home and tried to get him back on track, going to school and so forth. Still not having full answers as to why he gets so incredibly sick when he gets sick. Finally, I call the ENT and I say, we need an appointment ASAP because something is not right. So they ended up having a cancellation, and just last week my son had surgery to get ear tubes in his ears to help with the drainage. While he was under anesthesia, the doctor looked at his adenoids, and some of you probably know where this conversation was going. His adenoids were 100% blocking the back of his throat and where the eustachian tubes drain into the back of the throat. So he always sounded congested, even when he was sick. So I was giving him Zyrtec. He always was like stuffed up. He would wake up in the night being congested, and I never knew. It's like, okay, you were sick like a week ago, so is it something from that, or is it something else? I totally did allergy. I did his room. I washed everything. I got a spray, and I had been treating his room. No more dog and cat in the room. I was doing so many things. And finally, we got an answer that his adenoids were 100% blocking. And the surgeon called me after they had taken my son in. He was under anesthesia. This is a whole long story. I'm so sorry, you guys, but I want to share with you where my mind has been at, and it has been a lot. And so, the surgeon called me while my son was under anesthesia and said, I looked at his adenoids and they need to come out. They are 100% blocking. And I gave consent, blah, blah, blah. They did that. My son did great. He was very out of it, coming out of anesthesia and kicking and screaming and trying to pull his IV out. That was the most stressful time of the whole thing. Of course, also thinking about my son under anesthesia and a breathing tube, and I kept getting these like images of his little body, and it's so hard, you guys. It was so hard. Got him home. All went well. Recovery has been great. He does have large tonsils, but pretty much not large enough to remove. And hopefully now, the way that his body can navigate illness is going to look a little bit different. Certainly less ear infections, and he's not congested anymore. His voice is different. And I just felt so much relief because I could not understand why he was getting so sick. And it's because all that yucky, whether it was a virus or bacteria, was stuck in his head. It could not drain because it couldn't drain from the ears, because naturally children's ears are smaller, but it didn't even have anywhere to go because the adenoids were blocking. It could not drain into his throat. And so this is why he would get such high fevers and be sick for so long, because his body was not able to, process through the whole thing. So anyway, that has literally been such a journey, and I know it might seem not that serious. And I offer back, yes, it's not in the grand scheme of things. And as a parent who's working, who's also paying for childcare and having your child not even go most of the time and having to juggle and shift things literally for like 7-8 months straight, it took years off of my life. That's all I can say, because we don't have help here either. So that has been the biggest piece of it all. But also we moved and I'm in the spare room now. I found some old ASMR stuff. This entire box is full. You may have seen it in a very old video. I actually took a break from YouTube, not filming, but even consuming ASMR. I found that for me, when my stress was so high with, oh my gosh, I didn't even tell you, I just remembered something else. After we bought this new house, my husband got laid off. My husband is currently unemployed. This is the other stressor. There's been so much. I hate to come on here and I'm right in this moment, I'm feeling self-conscious of putting negativity out there when many of you come here to relax and escape from your own stressful lives. And it's important to me to show up as my real self in this space, and it's important to me that you all understand there was so much context as to why I just couldn't get back on here to film. And I missed you, and I miss filming. I got more props to film. But so circling back, my husband got laid off 3 months after buying this house, which is a huge upgrade from our old house in terms of money and space. So that has been also very stressful. And I'm so grateful that around this time my practice was growing even more, and it's doing great, and I feel such deep gratitude for the work that I'm able to do. But as I was saying, I took a break even from YouTube because every time I would watch ASMR, I would feel pressure to film. I would feel guilt at not of saying that I was coming back, and then I like disappeared again, which is so not who I am. I'm not a flaky person. When I say I do things, I usually do them. Like I'm not flaky, but when it came to this outlet in my life, it was the first thing to go on the back burner. It's a hobby, and it was the first thing to go. Right. So anyway, I just couldn't even listen to ASMR much. And also, to be honest, and this might upset some of you, the ASMR community does not offer me what it used to offer me as a consumer of it. It's so different now. It's so like commercialized. It's so sexualized. No shade on the people that do that. Like, everyone has their own autonomy to do what they want to do, but it has evolved into a very different corner of the internet, and that's not a bad thing. It just no longer offers me what it once did. Does that make sense to any of you? That being said, I come here to this little sliver of the internet because I love connecting with you. I love offering parts of my heart out into the universe, out to people who will listen, offering this gentle corner of compassion and nurturing, attention and caring, because I genuinely, in the depth of my soul, feel that. And I feel it channel through me out into the world. Except in this video, you might not feel it too much, I'm sure. And so anyway, oh my goodness, the other thing that happened is, well, we lost my cat, but I might have told you about that. I posted that on Instagram when it happened. My cat passed away as well, and my son still talks about that cat. And we actually rescued a box of kittens like 3 weeks ago that were found at my brother's construction site. And it was this whole journey. Oh my gosh, that could be a whole other video, but we rescued these kittens. I fed them from a syringe, but I could not like properly foster them at home because my son was about to get surgery. We're going on a big trip in a couple weeks. That was purchased pre-layoff, and so anyway, I found them a place to go, and hopefully when we come back I'll be able to adopt one and you'll meet them. So where was I going with that? Oh, just how I was stepping away from YouTube. But let me tell you something. Your comments literally warmed my heart so much, and your comments and concern for where I was, and really just you attempting to stay connected to me and my videos is why I'm here. And because I want to respond to that with love and comfort, because now I feel like I can finally access it. I had filmed probably 3 or 4 videos in this past like 6 months, 7 months, and they just were not, it wasn't real, it wasn't authentic, and it didn't feel, it just wasn't, it was like not right. So I didn't post them. I'm sure it would have been fine, but I don't know, I just got self-conscious. So anyway, that is so much to update you on. I started going to the gym, also pre-layoff. Luckily the monthly payment is only like $15 or something, and that has been really, really nice to escape and move my body. My orientation towards working out is so different. It is not about losing weight at all. I mean, yes, that's nice if you feel like you need that, but it's truly for my mental health. This past year genuinely almost broke me, you guys, and I am not exaggerating. Oh my gosh, it was so much. Oh my gosh, it was so much. All these things I have told you about were so stressful. And I'm hoping that now that my son has had the surgery, that things are going to turn a corner. Of course, he's still going to get sick, just hopefully not so just so massively sick. And my husband has been job hunting. It's really tricky because, as you know, there's been a lot of layoffs everywhere, and so there's a lot of applicants, and it's been really stressful for him as well, especially with this new house and figuring out what we're gonna do, if what is our limit. And so while I had plans on totally decorating the house and I was going to film some of that, it's just a little on hold, not indefinitely. The other thing I didn't tell you was, after we moved into this house, some of you might remember, some of you in California might remember in January those massive, massive storms. Well, our basement flooded. The basement was the playroom. I had set it up as like a really cute, full-on Pinteresty, whatever playroom. The basement totally flooded while I was out of town because my dear friend, who you have seen on this video, she gave birth. She had a baby. And the night I left, my son got 103 fever, and our basement massively flooded, and the water did not stop coming for months. And it was so stressful. We lost some of the stuff down there, some of it we were able to save, and then we tried to find a sump pump, and they were sold out literally everywhere in our region. And it was another stressful time and another big bill to pay. And so there were so many other things that it just it was one thing after another for truly almost a year. And a lot of beautiful things happened. A lot of wonderful things happened. And my son is growing. He's healthy. He's cultivated friendships at school. And I have a practice that is thriving, that brings me great meaning and joy to my life. And though my husband is unemployed, I am hoping, trusting that whatever is next for him comes, and comes in time. So, those are sort of the main things of what had happened. And I do have video ideas coming up. One of the things I want to do is my recent beauty favorites, which you all know how much I love that. And then I have a hair video coming up. And I'll be doing makeup on a dear friend that's coming up. And yeah, I think that's where I will leave this today. This is a very long video. I'm grateful for all of you who are here. I'm open to any questions or comments. And I don't expect a huge return of viewership. Certainly I've been gone for so long, and that was something I had to accept, was that my channel, wasn't gonna die, but that it was gonna be quite different. And that's okay. I accept that, because I come here as just a place to connect with whoever is willing to listen and to offer you some